Hi everyone, my name is Faiha Azka, but you can call me Faiha. I've been a youth activist for 2 years now, trying to encourage more youth to be aware about forest and environmental issues to tackle the climate change. So mainly right now I focus in two things. First of all, in my organization, International Forestry Students Association. Basically, we're in the business of empowering, connecting, and also educating young youth to be more aware about the issues of environments and also the climate change, the global crisis, all related to SDGs. But not only that, we also are doing efforts to connect them and trying to create the network necessary to amplify the impacts within the forestry sector as a whole. Aside from that, I'm also working for a restoration company, one of in Indonesia, and what we do is trying to conserve the biodiversity as well as trying to maximize um, the multifunction of forest aside from their production function, which I think is very relevant to our current situation with all the climate change and everything. So we need to be aware that forest has so many functions and to sustain our lives as a human. So I think the most or the main aspects that has brought me here is because the awareness of urgency of the role of forest itself in tackling the climate change, which I think is the main whole thing about the UNFCCC or COP itself, which is to reduce the global temperature through like collaborative actions. And I think this is very important because forestry, as I mentioned before, we have lots of functions. We don't always work in like production aspects. We also sustain lives through providing food, providing oxygen, providing space to live, especially for local communities, for example. So I think this is very important to notice that we contribute in a lot of aspects, and I think this is what I'm trying to bring here, which is forestry has lots of role and we can contribute in many ways in a lot of aspects in a lot of sectors, and this is the awareness that I've tried also to bring not only in COP but other conferences itself. For example, the Forest Stewardship Council General Assembly, which we focus on like forest certification, how to create a sustainable lives within the forest and also for the local communities, forest management, and also like other youth activities. For example, in IFSA itself, we have like International Forest Student Symposium to address these matters. I think this is a very interesting question because in my place, people doesn't perceive forest as a land to provide resources. We perceive forest more than that, far more than that. We perceive forest as a part of us. So we respect them. We try to see that it's also a place for us to have like fulfill our cultural needs or social needs as well. So in this way, I think the applications of how people perceive forest and manage forest also integrated in their daily lives. For example, like how they always like preserve the forest in their forest management or like their agricultural practices, how we promote and also implement agroforestry in Indonesia especially, and also since I'm coming from Java, we really emphasize this kind of practices to maintain the forest while also make sure that the people's needs are being sustained. So I think that's one of the main cultural aspects that we have in forest itself. I think one of the main and most important factor is the network and how to create that network. Because with network, I think it comes with the power that we need to change or to have the support that we need. For example, if we can create network with companies, if we can create a network with local communities or like indigenous communities or like other students, other youth, I think this is where the support comes, whether it's financial support, like resource support or any kind of support that we need, and to really create the actions and implement it in the field itself. Because without all these networks and without all these supports, then everything will be just like futile. So I think that's the first thing. But other thing that I would be needing, of course, like I think the not only me but also the whole sector is like the technology, and also finance. I think finance has become one of the main factors itself in determining whether or not the project will be successful. And this is where we need the supports from. So we require a lot of aspects, but as I mentioned before, it starts with the networks and then it goes like multiplier effects downwards. So I hope that this could be something that we could work on together as youth and also as a community. I am the face of forestry.